Well,
I don't know how
I
to.
think what you said earlier, the example of the rodeo clown, the people that are in power, that we voted in, they send out these things to get us distracted from what they know we're on a trail of. They want to feed us what they want us to know, and we want what we want to know, but they won't give it to us.
Yeah.
So I think the protests aren't organic, and I think there's people behind the scenes pulling levers, just like you said. And
What protests do you think are organic? Because you almost never see. I mean, I remember you asked Chat GPT the difference between right and left wing protest, and that's part of it. But like, so like the temperament of the two political spectrums are different in a way that the right wing doesn't protest as much as the left wing. But why aren't the left protesting? The left, as boomers understand it, why aren't the left protesting Epstein? You think when everyone's out, like, well, do you think they are and they're not filming it, or do you think just nobody is protesting that? That seems to be the biggest problem above ICE.
yeah, I haven't seen any big protest on Epstein.
Yeah, me neither.
And so you
that's
would think
weird.
there's always strange things, like the thing I heard down the blog was that the left is always completely against big corporations, and
Yeah.
then suddenly they joined in with the pharmaceutical companies during the pandemic, and strange bedfellows,
Yeah, it's super weird. Because, like, I guess another question I have, because I want to hear, like, the older perspective on it, is if the left and right, population-wise, both find Epstein, like, the number one most abhorrent current event and biggest scandal in living memory, and the left isn't even protesting it, that would insinuate that almost no protest, if you carry this logic to its natural conclusion, almost no protest in the last within living memory also are organic.
right?
So, like, what do you think? Any protests are organic?
Well, it looks like to me, based on the Epstein thing, with it's always a top down protest. They're sent out
Yeah.
to do certain things. It's not like you said. What everybody wants to know, what everybody's talking about, and they're trying to dismiss, is the Epstein file. We want to know every single thing in it. This is a case where even if the victims get hurt, perhaps it's such a national
Yeah.
security scandal. If it's as big as it could possibly be, we need to know
Yeah,
to
it's-
save the country. But we're not going to get to know. I suspect we'll never know.
Yeah. Is it? Do you think the aliens are just a distraction?
Yes.
Yeah. It's so like, I don't know. I heard someone call it Alien versus Predator. Like this is the Alien versus Predator initiative because you have the Predators coming out, so we're gonna drop the Alien files. It's just like, I don't know. It makes me question everything. Like I said, the fact that everyone is upset. If you go online, if you go into a bar, if you go into a restaurant, there are tons of people talking about the Epstein thing, but not one person, including myself, by the way, is willing to stand at an intersection with signs about it. So it's like, man, is the entire protesting apparatus, was that always fake? Was that always CIA? Because the last time, maybe I'm wrong, because we got civil rights, but I'm not even convinced at this point that wasn't a CIA thing. Just seeing the modern behavior.
Which protest?
Even just the civil rights protests. Like, I'm not saying they were a bad thing, but it's like, man, we're not even protesting the fact that we're ran top down by a bunch of global, for YouTube, I'm going to say PDF files that, I mean, I don't want to get too off topic. These people literally bioengineer diseases. There's a whole thing, I don't know if you've seen it at all, that they've bioengineered a tick to carry a disease that gives people a fatal allergy to red meat. And they've talked about it. There's a guy, I forget his name. He's in I think the World Health Organization or something, literally talking about engineering allergies to red meat. And there's a tick in Texas, here, of all places, that carries this disease. So, like, they talk about it out loud, and no one will do anything. Not a single person will do anything. But people will burn down a city over a misunderstanding, an accidental killing. But we're being basically used like cattle, and no one has anything to do about that. No one's burning down anything.
I think that's right. I think that that anymore, the things you find out that where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So there's smoke all over the Epstein thing, for instance, and we want to know. It's probably so bad that I think both sides are going. It's so bad. The truth coming out would be more harm to the nation than just covering it up. And both sides, I think, have agreed on that. That it's too bad to look at.
Yeah, but
And
I mean, like,
then you start thinking every little thing that you thought was kind of good is not. And so my suspicion about once someone realizes that they can't be punished or caught and there's no consequences, if you could do anything you wanted and never get punished, how bad could you get? Very bad.
Oh, yeah.
Myself included. So these high level officials, it's both sides hanging out with Epstein. When you look, there's what was the head, the guy that was with Trump with the fat?
oh, Letnick
Not Letnick.
or the
one that
bar
was, no,
Bannon.
Bannon.
Yeah, Bannon.
So he's
Buddy,
in
buddy.
there. The Prince is in there. Bill Gates is in there. These people, these are enemies, and they're all hanging out at the same parties. And you
Yeah.
and I aren't there.
Yeah. They want us to think they're enemies.
Yeah, that's
That's
my point.
always the thing. They're all, but I mean, again, it's like the P. Diddy stuff. It's always been out in the open. Like, what are the sheer odds that, like, think back on the 2015 election or 2016 election, whatever year that was. Like, Trump and Hillary made this whole song and dance about hating each other, deplorables, you should be in jail. And like they all go to each other's kids' weddings.
Yeah, no.
Like it's one of those things. Like I have this thought, and I've mentioned it to you before, where it's the secret's always out in the open. People always whenever somebody in some bunker somewhere flips a switch and the public consciousness starts paying attention to big scandals like Epstein or Diddy. You go back and look, and people were always talking about it.
Yeah.
And people would like you could have Denzel Washington come up like at the Grammy, not the Grammys, the whatever, the Golden Globes, and be like, or yeah, the Grammys, be like, P. Diddy he has basically sex slaves, crazy orgies, and he's basically human trafficking women in awful conditions, and people would just crack up. People would just laugh. They go, oh, ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Right.
But then something flips. Someone flips a switch, and then everyone takes it seriously. What is that about?
I don't know. That's what I think. It seems to happen.
Yeah.
It seems that they can make us go after what we want, and then I just think the average person that's a conscientious, good citizen. You're working so hard just to not starve to death and be overwhelmed with debt that they can make you just about do anything. Once you get relieved of that and you've got government funding and you got pension for life and your kids go to the best schools, then you can think about manipulation. The average guy I know doesn't have 2 minutes to think about manipulation. You're trying not to starve to death.
Yeah.
And they tax you to death. And then, I'm always amazed that people talk about raising taxes. And I'm thinking, they got a $38 trillion debt. Why in the world would we give them more money? They don't need more money.
They got to pay for the lube somehow.
I guess.
But what's so strange is like when we went to the Virgin Islands in 2017, and that guy was giving me the tour, and he told me about Epstein Island.
It's already known.
It was already known, but nobody talked about it. It wasn't like I thought he was making it up, because even though it was an open secret, even though this guy had been convicted, and there were already links to him and Trump and the Clintons and all that. The guy told me, he's like, that's PDF file island.
Yeah, it's common knowledge.
The guy told me, just some random guy in a Red Hook, that the Clintons go there and they have Russian kids and they do awful things. Everyone knew about it, but it's like someone didn't hit the button yet. No one took it seriously. I thought he was just BSing for more cigarettes.
Yeah.
And it's so strange. Like, what do you think the force is when there's enough beads on one side of the Atticus or whatever it's called?
So I'm going to go far out on a limb here.
Okay.
Listen to Peterson the other day. So abusing a little child, why would they do that? Because his point was, people that are raging against the world and being itself, and against that God that created a universe that's not exactly how they want it. So what is it's revenge of Cain. You take the most innocent thing and do the most heinous crime to it to shake your fist at God. And then when you think of it that way, you think these elitists, they're godless, they're frustrated with the life, they're bitter, they have no meaning. And I could see. I used to think there's no way there was a big bunch of American politicians involved with something like that. I don't know. Maybe way more than you think.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And what does that mean? I don't know for sure what that means.
When do you think that started? Because obviously, like we have a long 250 something year history in the States.
Yeah.
When do you think this kind of secret elite stuff started?
Probably further back than you would think. John Kennedy.
So you're thinking like 20th century, though?
Well, I think that the elites, Taft, any president in the country, especially before there was internet, they could just about get away with all kind of things. Now, did they do it? I don't know. Our character was different then, but Kennedy had an underage girl that he raped basically in the swimming pool of the White House. So she wrote a book about it, and it was just no
one ever talks about that.
And he's still a hero.
Yeah.
So it's like people don't want their models messed up of what makes life make sense to them. And so I think they're saying if we let people know what happened here, people's morale will be ruined. We can't let it down. And plus we'll go to jail. We're not going to go to jail.
Yeah.
That's a given. And even over in Europe, they've got Prince. They got an ambassador that was to the USA. They got somebody else yesterday. But that could be show. That could be seen. Look, we'll even get the Prince.
Yeah.
And he already probably got a bargain deal. He's going to go back to his mansion. What changes in his life? Nothing. He's in prison anyway. You're a royalty. You can't walk the street.
Yeah.
You live in a mansion your whole life,
Yeah. That's why we used to tar and feather people. Because it was a little more permanent.
Yeah.
Now, like I was telling you, like, what's the worst thing? Like you're on the Epstein files and it comes out that you were doing so like Bill Gates with his STDs. And I told you at lunch the other day, I'm like, well, Bill Gates has like probably recorded webcam footage database, whole data centers with just what our webcams on our laptops
on every single human.
Yeah. So it's like he has to come out as having an STD, and that's embarrassing. But like, what does he have on? What do the tech companies have on us?
Yeah.
Just like off our phone.
Every sin you've ever committed, so the deal is
front and back camera.
Yeah, I know.
All the time. And
we thought they were putting those cameras on for us. No, they're for them.
Man. Oh man. I have this thought, because we're about to run out of time. I have this thought that part of the reason why I asked you when you thought it started is because I have this thought that the politicians, as much as we like to think that they're their own separate reptilian race of Satan owl worshipers, I have a theory that they're literally just a reflection of us, but more focused. So like, I'm gonna rag on boomers since you're a boomer. I've always for years, since I was like 14 and started hanging out at other friends' houses, I've hated swingers, wife swappers, and all I see with white American boomers is just Jimmy Buffett wife swapping debauchery. And then what surprised me is that all that's going on in the Caucasian middle class, and they're all surprised that all their politicians are a bunch of fiends.
I agree.
And it's just a reflection, right? Like that tiki bar swinger hula hoop culture. Of course it coalesced in a pedophile island.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
It's the natural end of what that path leads to.
Yeah. So why do you think boomers have such a hard time? They all seem, you're a little different, but a lot of them seem incredulous that politicians could do any wrong when they're out here wife swapping in front of their kids. What do you think the disconnect is?
I'm always amazed about anybody that's preaching, that's yelling at you because you're so bad and they're so good. And I look at their families; they've abandoned all their children. They've left 3 or 4 wives. I'm going, who are you to preach morality?
Yeah, put them all on Xanax.
So the boomers came up in the Vietnam War, being political when they were in college. They thought they were going to change the world, and they still think they're the golden group. But the reality, me, you, anybody, the minute you think there's no consequences,
Yeah.
there's no telling how bad you'll get.
Oh no,
That's
But
all there's
there's
to
a
it.
chance. There's a big chance that we could be far worse.
Yeah.
The Zoomers, because I'm Gen Z. I've always thought. Excuse me. I've always thought like right out of school, girls. It was like that Centerfold song, like da 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 da.
Yeah.
Like right out of school, girls that I had like a major crush on
Yeah.
that shaped my
Yeah.
idea of myself as a man.
Yeah.
Immediately had an OnlyFans.
Yeah, no.
So like whatever the boomers are doing, that we blame you guys for destroying the
Yeah.
world or whatever, and y'all did an awful job.
Yeah.
But like we have the potential to be so much worse than you guys.
Yeah.
Because like y'all
Oh,
y'all got bikinis.
Wait till old age creeps up on you.
Yeah, I
and
know.
You see the end of the road.
How
coming.
rotten.
Yeah.
Like to have young debauchery is one thing, but when it ages and rots,
Yeah.
like all the people on the Epstein list, I can't imagine what we might be like, my generation, when we're old. When we kick.
I'll say my last
Yeah.
statement.
Uh-huh.
In the end, this is the way I look at it. You have to look Satan in the face and say yes or no to him. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
So everyone gets their call, and what you find out is that you're weaker than you think. You'll sell your values out for quicker than you think, and so just being aware that that's what you're susceptible to gives you your best shot. But it's very easy to point the finger at everybody else, but you are the one you should worry about.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. If someone offered me like $800,000 to do something that I would find unconscionable right now, I genuinely don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
I like to think I wouldn't take it. I'd like to think I would be like, I'm not going to do that thing. But then you start thinking about, all the people that would hate me for doing this. I could buy them so much stuff with the money by doing the thing they would hate me for. So anyways, I guess we'll call it there because we have an appointment.
Okay.
That was a good test.
Yeah.
I was going to say bye to everybody.
Bye, everybody. It was fun.